Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where today you join me downtown Ann Arbor with what is currently the cheapest way to get into a three-row Kia. This is the 2025 Sorento plug-in hybrid, and while the plug-in version is not the cheapest, the base model of this starts at just $33,000. So not only is it the cheapest way to get into a three-row Kia, it's one of the cheapest ways to get into a three-row SUV in 2025, or I suppose in 2026 now that we are only a couple weeks out. This stays about the same price for the next model year. So what are we doing today? Well, as you can see, we're on top of an parking structure, and I figured with a car like this, with a plug-in hybrid, we should see what it's like to commute back from the office. This car is all about being efficient, it's all about being practical, and it's all about value for money. Now, I'm hoping we can sort of evaluate the Sorento as a whole, as opposed to evaluating this top trim plug-in hybrid SX Prestige that costs $55,000. But we'll try to gloss over that today and view this as what it is: quite good value for money, or at least I think. We will come to a conclusion later in today's video. But since we brought up that this is an SX Prestige, why don't we talk about this exact car that we have in front of us? This is finished in snow white pearl. That is an optional color. It's got a nice little metallic flake to it, but in today's typical Michigan gloomy December sky, you cannot see it. But my favorite part about this spec is the dust blue interior. I didn't know that Kia did a blue interior, or maybe I did and it's been too long since I've seen one, but this is actually quite a nice spec. I love that blue interior is making a comeback. It's very 90s. It's also quite icy up here. I'm gonna edit that part out where I almost just fell. But the blue leather, of course, is cool. If it wanted to be properly 80s, it would be velour, but this is fitting, of course, for 2025. So this is pretty typical for Kia as far as a plug-in hybrid powertrain goes. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 1.6 liter inline four combined with an electric motor. This makes 261 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. It's got a 6-speed automatic transmission, and it's all-wheel drive. And I always manage to do these videos when an hour is changing. So some of you like my unique city noises, though, so I suppose we will keep on trucking. So this is rated at 33 mpg combined gasoline only, and 73 mpg. On the way over here from my house, which is, I don't know, 15 miles or so away, I got 45 mpg combined. Now, this is a plug-in hybrid, of course. It'll charge on level 2 overnight to completely full, and this will do 32 miles of electric-only range. You can set this inside to run on electric only. You can put it in hybrid mode, or you can put it in auto, which is what I've been using this week, and it does seem to be a pretty intelligent programming. So before we get into this, before we wind it down the structure and drive home, let's poke around this and show you what this looks like inside and out. I want to start with the wheels, which remind me of like a late 80s, early 90s Honda Prelude. I don't know what it is about these. I think it's just kind of like the twist design, but my grandma, the only car she ever had in my lifetime while she was alive was an '89 Honda Prelude, and the wheels looked just like this. Of course, hers were completely silver, but it's just been reminding me of that this week. Anyway, what do we have? This is a Continental Cross-Contact LX Sport, and of course in a squared setup at 235/55 R19, so still the 55 section sidewall, good enough to soak up the bumps as our roads are crumbling to pieces here in December. But the California plate, I suppose, is kind of boosting the mood. It's 32 out today. It's not horrible, so just barely freezing. All right, as you can see back here, we have the third row seats folded up. But what I love about this car is that in about 2 seconds, you can fold them down. There aren't any stupid buttons back here where you have to wait 15 seconds per seat for them to go down. We've also got this cargo cover back here, which currently is just kind of floating around, as well as this EV charger that Kia sent me. Thank you so much. And then we also have a snow scraper underneath here. You've got a toolkit, whatever else, but not any extra storage. So you kind of have to rely on having these third row seats down if you want to bring anything big with you. But I want to show you what room is like actually back here. So we're going to leave them up for today's video. That is the thing with kind of the smaller three-row SUVs, is that you have to accept when you have the third row up that you're not going to be able to take much else with you. It's kind of a human transporter and not really anything else. Before we jump in, let's go under the hood. show you this turbocharged 1.6 liter GDI. Now this is always interesting because Hyundai and Kia, they don't really do the CVT thing with their hybrids. It's very strange. So this is just a tiny little turbo 4, and then it has a 6-speed automatic, which does seem a bit old as well, but it all kind of works in harmony. It's kind of like Toyota's way of putting the old CVT. They kind of have this old 6-speed, and it just, I don't know, older was usually a bit smoother, so that's just what they've got going on here. You can see all this hybrid tech, and this 1.6 looks properly tiny in this engine bay. Of course, non-hybrid Sorentos do get a bigger 4-cylinder. I think it's like a 2.5 or something. The last one of these I drove was an X-Line in Florida, actually, funny enough. Let's open our massive, like, long wheelbase BMW 7 Series rear door, and we'll jump into the third row. This does actually have a very convenient little release button there. And I try not to break my neck getting into the car. Also, I thought I heard somebody walking up on me. Okay, a lot just happened right there. This would be a great time for someone to walk up on me while I'm like trapped in the third row of a Kia Sorento. We've got a little spot for your phone back here. Kia tells you not to put a cup there because you've got a cup holder there instead. USB-C port, and that's about it for the third row passengers. We don't get sunshades or anything, but here's what I want to show is that with this second row in what is a barely usable position, and I'll sit in it like this so you guys can see. I can fit back here at 5'11". My knees are a bit in my face, but again, this is kind of just the thing with these smaller 3-row SUVs. You kind of just have to accept it. Now, as I transition up here, I want to talk about something else. So we talked earlier a little bit about how, yes, this is the cheapest 3-row Kia. It's about $4,000 cheaper than the Telluride. Okay, as you can see, this isn't super comfortable. We're going to adjust this. So this is about $4,000 cheaper than a base model Telluride or a base model Carnival, base model to base model, of course. And it's the second cheapest 3-row on the market, only being about $1,000 behind the Mitsubishi Outlander. And I've sat in the third row of a Mitsubishi Outlander, and it is completely unusable. I don't know why they even put it there, if you have passengers without legs or very small children, of course. But this, I think, is the cheapest 3-row SUV that's actually usable. I mean, those are actual seats back there. So the value for money here does seem pretty attractive. In this SX Prestige model, we have the sunshades, as well as this nice dust blue continued onto the door panel. I mean, look at this second row door panel. It's quite nice. You can see our Bose sound system. We've got heated second row seats. We've got cup holders back here in the door panels. We've got some vents in the middle. We've got some plugs down here. We've got 2 seat back pockets. You've got USB-C ports in the sides of the seats. That's something that Hyundai and Kia do that I think is quite clever. And then you've got these adjustable armrests back here as well that ratchet. And even little pockets on the side of the seats. There's lots of nice solutions back here. And not really much of a drivetrain hump. This is, of course, all-wheel drive, but I suppose this sort of makes up for the drivetrain hump. But if you get this in bench seat configuration, it wouldn't be terrible for the middle passenger. The Kia Sorento got a bit of a facelift in 2024. Keen-eyed viewers will have noticed this revised front end. But the hybrid models, 2025, apparently, they got this look, but this has been around now for a couple of years. And then this generation of Sorento has been around for about 5 years. So we're starting to get used to it. I think it's pretty handsome. This is the 4th generation overall now of Kia Sorento, which is crazy. It's been in the US since like 2002. Absolutely wild to think about. All right, let's jump up front. Pretty similar looking door panel to what we saw in the second row, which is always good to see. They are being consistent with materials. 2 memory seat settings, another big Bose speaker, and let's sit in this dust blue seat. Give me a round of applause for not falling on this very slippery parking structure roof. All right, let's start this up because I am cold. Now this will start itself default in EV mode, but sometimes, and usually when I do this, okay, it's not doing it today for the video, sometimes when I turn on some of the heated elements, it'll start the engine. I think that's only in the morning, so it can kind of get itself up to operating temp, and you will see this throughout the video Even if you're in EV mode, it'll start its engine and just kind of idle at like 1200 RPM just to keep things warm. If you do have an emergency situation, you need to floor it. There you go, it just started itself. That way the engine is up to temp. So I do like that for a sort of like self-preservation thing. You're not like overstressing a cold engine if you have some kind of emergency, you need to merge, get out of somebody's way, whatever. In the middle, quite sizable center console. You can see my hat in there for scale. We've got this dial shifter, which I believe is unique to the hybrid models. The regular ones get just a regular shifter. 4 drive modes, Eco, Snow, Smart, and Sport. We've got this heated steering wheel, which I just turned on. You've got your button here to cycle through EV, hybrid, and auto. We've got our parking cameras there. 360 cam looks quite nice. Regular looking glove box. I don't know, I think the mix of materials in here is pretty good. They're all kind of a dull color. I mean, you've got this gray trim here, but it kind of blends into this faux leather on the dash, and then the silver down here, whatever. You know, I think this car is saved a bit by the blue interior for just kind of making it look that much more high-end. But we do have this very nice Alcantara suede headliner and some pretty big, oh no, oh dear, that's my ticket to get out of here. Please come out. Okay. Okay, let's not open that again until it's time to leave. Okay, well, the last thing I want to show you before we go are 2 more things. Infotainment screen, this kind of continuous curved display. We've seen this on other Kias. This is nothing new. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. That works fine. You guys know that system. But down here, we have what I think we saw first in the Kia EV6, which is where this panel switches between climate control and media. So you can see here now, this is a volume knob. But then if I hit the fan button, it becomes a temperature knob. Quite nice unless you're in a situation where you really quickly want to turn your music down and you end up putting the air conditioning on or whatever. Luckily, you have this physical button here on the steering wheel to mute, turn down, whatever you need to do. What is that? When I hit mute, it does 3 little buzz. Is it my phone? It is my phone. Interesting. Okay, never seen that before. Speaking of the phone, you can hide that away with this little cubby. You've got some piano black in here, which you can see Emily spilled some matcha on yesterday, and overall it just looks dusty and bad, but that's our only little bit of piano black in this entire interior, so can't complain too much. Oh, I guess on the steering wheel it has some too. Speaking of the steering wheel, we've got some paddle shifters, which don't do what you'd think. In a hybrid, these actually control the 6-speed automatic. They don't control any sort of regen. The car figures all of that out on its own. Okay, let's go for a drive. Into reverse on the shifter. I already gave you guys a bit of a sneak peek at these cameras, but you can see now the reversing camera with leading lines. Happy that this management company that controls this parking structure actually plowed it, because it means I can still start my videos up here. And we will set off in EV mode. Ultralight steering, pretty consistent with any sort of larger Hyundai or Kia SUV. They're always going to have this very nice light steering. And this does vary, actually. If you put this in sport mode, the steering becomes hilariously heavy, which we may or may not do at the end of the video. We should, I guess we will. We'll go around the performance loop when we get back to the suburbs, I guess you could say, and show you how this is to drive in a spirited manner. But just driving it normally like this, it's quiet, it's easy, and it doesn't feel super big. That's what I like about maneuvering this Sorento, is that you're kind of able to use this light steering, which is also pretty quick, to get yourself down parking structures, around parking lots, whatever, and you don't feel like you're lugging a bus around. It should be what all manufacturers strive to do when they build a car like this, because the sort of people that buy this, they just want a very easy experience. And we have that here in the Sorento hybrid, plug-in hybrid. For our last maneuverability test, let's get this thing down this narrow, twisty ramp guy. Obviously, since this is an SUV, you don't have to worry about ground clearance or anything. You can just bomb over the speed bumps and everything, and it's totally fine. But ride quality here is fantastic. We'll talk more about that once we're outside. It's just so funny to me how Kia and Hyundai used to get clowned for their cars, and now they build stuff like this. It's just so wild. All right, let's get this pulled up. Auto down window.
Please insert your ticket with the barcode facing up.
Parking sensors and cameras will...
monthly card.
Thank you. Parking sensors and cameras will automatically come up.
Facing up.
Can never get a word in with this guy.
Thank you for your business.
There you go.
Please drive safely.
You're welcome. What I was trying to say is as soon as you get close to something on any side of the car, the cameras will come up. Auto up window as well. I think all four. Yep, all four windows auto up down. Love to see that here in the Sorento. Okay, now that we are outside, let's talk about our inputs, which are good. Love the throttle response in this. No jumpiness, no weird shifts or anything. And happy to report brake pedal is the same way. Nice and progressive. There's no lurchiness when you come to a complete stop. You're able to do your limo stops in perfect fashion in this. So if you're wanting to chauffeur people, the Sorento is an okay option for that. The only thing that's a bit weird is that the electric motor goes through, of course, the 6-speed automatic. So you actually feel this changing gear while it's in EV mode, which it's just a Hyundai Kia thing, you know, whatever. But it's always a funny sensation when, you know, typical hybrids like Toyotas or Hondas or whatever, they have some sort of a CVT or two-motor hybrid system in Honda's case, and it just feels like you're in an EV when you're in electric mode. But this still feels like an ICE car because you feel it shifting. And it isn't bothersome. It's just unique. So, also that section of road, they just opened that. That section of road in particular was most famous for prompting commenters to ask me what country I was driving in because they could not believe that the US had roads like that. Welcome to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Okay, through a bit more of a city setting, we are still in EV mode, so far doing 57 mpg because we did a little bit of idling on top of the structure. I have been seeing about 30 miles of range this week pulling this off the charger. This morning it said 29 miles, but it only charged to 99%. I don't know, or maybe it lost 1% from the time I unplugged it to the time I got in. 30 miles does the trick. I mean, 30 miles will get most people to work. Some people to work and back. I've got my star button here programmed to my battery status, my plug-in hybrid screen here. I've got 19 miles of electric range left on 74% battery. You can see here, we'll leave that screen up. You can see kind of where the power is going and stuff. Charlie from Daily Motor, this is his favorite sort of thing. So Charlie, if you're watching, I'm doing this for you right now. Steering wheel itself is pretty nice too, leather wrapped, heated, and this thing gets hot. There are two settings for the heated steering wheel. I've got it on full blast right now, but man, if you're driving this thing around for like 30-40 minutes, setting 2 is like unbearably hot. So I like that you can knock it down a notch and just have it be sort of lukewarm. But the rapid heating is nice for cold days, I guess like today. It's 32 out. It's technically freezing. Of course, we talked about the heated seat, but we also have ventilated seats, and this works on a toggle switch with it, which I think is quite fun. Always love to see a good toggle switch in a car. We are still rolling in EV mode today. And cycle through here. I'm going to put this in auto, and we'll let it do its thing. And we'll leave the drive mode in eco. Currently sitting at 91.6 mpg. But this will be where we talk about ride quality, because this is a road that they haven't redone yet, because it would probably close the entire city down if they did. But that's okay, because it allows us, for testing purposes, to do some good ride evaluation. You can hear there are a couple little shimmies and shakes and rattles in this interior, but it's cold out, that happens. Overall, this interior feels pretty tight. As far as me being comfortable, it's quite good. As we mentioned earlier, still a pretty thick sidewall, even though we have a 19-inch wheel, so that helps soak everything up. But this car is built for comfort. It's built for ease. So you can go over big sections like this. I mean, you definitely don't have to swerve for potholes in the Kia Sorento. Just drive over all of it. And it's good. There we go, big one right here. Completely fine. Something moved back there, but I am comfortable. We're up to 178 miles per gallon now. Should we ruin that and see how it gets off the line? Let's put it in sport. the engine is warmed up, so don't worry about that. We'll leave it in auto as well. But it does change the way the gauge cluster looks depending on which drive mode you're in. You can set all of that in the infotainment. I'll do a quick little 0 to 45 and see what it's got. It's pretty quick, honestly. You get that initial punch from the electric motor, and then you feel the 1.6 go. Back into eco, it's just gonna probably shut that engine off, or it'll idle. It's gonna idle it for a second. Now we're down to 86 mpg. What a shame. I think overall, you know, this is an SUV that does a really good job at just being car. You guys know I say that sometimes. There's nothing that's necessarily like exciting about driving this Kia Sorento. It's very easy, which you could look at as being exciting because it's less stress for your morning and afternoon commutes. But I mean, there's nothing that like gives me the fizz or awakes my senses in this car. It's just a big cozy box. But that's fine. I mean, not every car has to be exciting. They just have to be good at being car. And being that this is the second cheapest 3-row SUV on the market, I would call that good. So as you can see here now, this is what I was talking about. It's in EV mode, kind of. So it's driving off the electric motor, but the engine is idling at 1200 RPM. So we're not using the engine to drive the wheels, but we're using the engine. Actually, I should see what this menu says we're doing right now. Okay, so the engine is charging the battery currently. Oh, check that out. Okay, I guess it's fun in this way. And I talk about this with my colleagues about how, like, the weeks we have hybrids, we like to see, like, how efficient we can be. We always try to hypermile and see who can get the highest MPG. We're sitting at 81 currently. That'll go back up as we continue to be at EV. The engine just shut back off. Coming to our smooth stop there. Can do scheduled charging. There's a bar graph. So this tells you how long it'll take to charge it fully. That's nice. Look at all these graphs. Charge efficiency history. I just know there are some people that absolutely adore this screen. Down by your left knee here, you've got a physical dimmer switch, which I actually used last night when I did the winding road night drive. There's one thing I hate. It's going into an infotainment screen to change brightness. That should never be a thing. Anyway, let's get this onto the highway. I'm going to select Smart Mode. This will help me merge more efficiently, but also it'll hold from turning that engine on until it absolutely needs to. I also like the colors you get with Smart Mode on the gauge cluster. You can see we're still in EV mode. I'm probably going to push past it here. Oh, it's going to keep it in EV mode. Oh, there you go. Okay. Transitions in here, very nice. You can't feel them whatsoever. And you also can't really hear them. This 1.6 liter is impressively quiet. Like, genuinely surprising. (3,000 RPM), I mean, you can just hear this very faint little buzz. I'm impressed with the sound deadening and just whatever they've done to make this little engine as quiet as it is. Got a bit of wind noise here in the cabin. It's not a particularly windy day. So what you don't have in engine and road noise, you kind of make up for in the wind noise department. Road intrusion, really not bad. I mean, even going over some of those imperfections, it doesn't echo through the cabin. Road holding, pretty nice. Steering does weight up once you're up to speed. And these Continentals have pretty good grip. We're just at the edge of the grip there. 51, not bad. We're exiting here, merging again in EV mode. It's got just enough power from that electric motor to get you up to highway speeds without impeding traffic. Let's talk about cruise control. This is a Kia, so we have all of the driver aids. Quite easy to use on the right side of the steering wheel. You've got steering assist, you've got lane keep, which we can turn on by holding this button. There we go, we've got all of it on. We've got lane keep assist, steering assist, lane change assist, which we'll show you now. As long as you are holding the steering wheel, this will do a lane change and hopefully not crash you into an Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Okay. Good. And since this is a Kia, they've been doing this for a while, this will actually hold the lane without yelling at you to take over for quite a while. I'm going to hover though because there's a lot of traffic around, so in case somebody pulls something, I want to be able to react. But as you can see, it's still letting me go, Swerving a bit, you can see the steering wheel making pretty constant adjustments. Now this has adaptive cruise as well. I've got this set to the closest following distance. See how it reacts and accelerates now that this guy got over. It's leaving itself in EV mode. Okay. We're going to make one more lane change here. I do wish this would do a lane change without you having to have your hands on the wheel, but you get what you get for a car in this segment, I suppose. Overall, though, I mean, these systems seem to do okay. I'm going to kill them, though, just because I don't want to be left lane camping. We're going to get back up with traffic here. I'm going to turn off the steering assist and turn off the lane keep assist as well. There we go. We've got a left exit up here, so that's why this left lane is full, and we will be taking this left exit as well. But let's talk about comfort. So ride quality, we've already talked about. It is excellent. What about the seat? Well, this has some good lumbar adjust that goes up, down, and in and out. And it goes out quite far, like a Lincoln Town car. Like to see it. Other adjustability is good, and seating comfort overall is quite nice in the Sorento too. The seats are quite pretty in the blue and quite comfortable to sit in as well. Don't have any sort of massage function or anything like that, but I think these would be quite nice on a long trip. They feel quite supportive as well. Driver's compartment is decent. This console does stick up pretty far, but since we do have sort of a lot going on here, it kind of has to. If we had a column shifter, maybe that would free up some of this space some. But I think as far as, you know, I can spread my legs out pretty well, and they only barely touch the console. It would maybe be nice to see some padding there for someone that maybe was a little bit bigger and they needed to rest their leg on that, so they're not just resting it up against cheap plastic. Elbow comfiness is okay. These surfaces, while they are padded, they are on the firmer side, but they are at about the same height, which means you can rest your hands in the same places on the steering wheel. Ergonomically, that is good. Visibility out of this with the camera mirror, nice. Without it, it's okay, but we have the camera, so who cares? Mirrors are nice and big. I can see very well out of the windshield. I like kind of the boxy front end. It helps you place the Sorento nice when you're going into parking spots and things. You don't have to guess where you're at. But I mean, overall, it's a nice car, and even at the $55,000 price point that this particular car is at, I mean, it doesn't feel cheaper than that, genuinely. Like, there's really nothing in here. There are a couple of plastics in here that I would like to see something nicer for $55,000. But other than that, as far as the way it drives, the way most of the things feel when you touch them, the way the technology works, the Bose sound system, which we'll test out in a second, it's a pretty nice product. Ooh, look at this slammed Outback. Oh, that is sick. And it's cool that this actually does feel nice, because there are some companies like this that you kind of feel like you should always lean towards the cheaper option, or the second cheapest, you know. But this does actually feel like there is some value here in this $55,000 getting the SX Prestige. Not to say that you should probably go for the base model if you're looking for value for a brand new 3-row SUV with a warranty for like just over 30 grand is pretty crazy. But this does feel nice. All right, we're gonna quickly do a little loop in sport mode, Want to make a note that we ended this main being efficient trip out at 66.5 mpg. And now we're going to spoil it by going into sport mode. Let's use our paddle shifters, why not? The steering weight's up a lot in sport. I think a little bit too much. It's a bit dramatic. But whatever, you want to feel sporty and have heavy steering, then there you go. Paddle shifters are a bit more of a suggestion than, you know, some sort of razor sharp command. But this is a plug-in hybrid with an ancient 6-speed, so I'm not expecting this to like fire off gear changes. But it's cool that you have the option to manually change gears at your disposal. Torque feels really good here. Pulls itself out of corners nicely. And it really is just plenty of power. I just quickly had to despawn that Mazda CX-50. All right, let's put this into a corner and see what it's got. Into the brakes. Now here's what's nice about this, is you can stick this into a corner and yes, it will understeer, but instead of the traction control just completely killing power, you feel that electric motor kind of push you out of the corner, so it's quite all right. Back into eco, and we'll finish this one out by giving you guys a little demo on this Bose sound system. Our mute button. Pretty decent. Admittedly, I've got some of the levels boosted because I think some of these Hyundais and Kias, they're a little bit underpowered in their stock setting for the sound system, but this one does all right, and I think with where I've got it, it's just about middle of the road for this segment. Mitsubishi actually just introduced a fabulous sound system for the Outlander, so this definitely falls behind that, but I mean, nothing in this class is really excellent at this price point. So Bose system does okay, but overall, and to wrap up what we've been talking about this whole time, nice value for money, good package overall, and just an easy car to drive, easy car to live with. And look at that, even after that hard section there, we did 43.8 mpg total from our 16.1 miles here in the Sorento plug-in hybrid. So we'll set our parking brake, which is in the correct location. I don't like when they're down by your left knee. This is just easier. That'll be it. And it plays a little song for you. Let's give you one last look at this snow white pearl Kia Sorento. Kind of just a car that does everything pretty well. I mean, there's not necessarily one thing that stands out about this, but I think Kia did a good job of just kind of smoothing everything out with this, making this car kind of fly under the radar and be just a nice, smart choice for people that need a 3-row SUV, want a warranty, and don't want to spend like $70,000 on a big Yukon or Suburban or something. This will do the trick for quite a bit less. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you guys again all so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.